Hi everyone! So I'm starting a new daily colour along, and as you can see I've printed off a bit of an advent calendar of colouring items for us to do throughout the month of July. Now I heard about this from Colourfully Optimistic's channel, which you can see right here, and I thought we could make it into a daily video that I can release for you, and you can watch me colour one of them each day, and it would be a little bit like the colouring roulette challenge, but I'll just be choosing my own colours. So there will be a video every single day throughout July. Now you've probably noticed it is already like the 6th of July, I think, today. So we've missed a week, but I have been away on holiday, so you'll probably be able to see the first week of these videos already up on the channel. I'm going to upload them all at once, and then from today it will be a daily video that you'll get, you'll get hopefully a notification for every day that I've uploaded a new video. So yeah, Colourfully Optimistic, go and check her channel out, it's fantastic. That's where I got the idea from, so I just wanted to credit her for that. So I went on to Etsy and bought the actual page itself from Jana Fairy Arts Etsy page. Here's the page, it costs £3, and yeah, so if you want to colour along with me, I'll leave the link in the description and you can go and buy yours from Jana's Etsy shop. So I think that's all the housekeeping out of the way. Let's get on with the actual challenge then. So as I said, it'll be a bit like the colouring roulette video, but I'm not actually going to be spinning a roulette wheel to see which colours and pencils and things that I'm going to use. I'm just going to get on with it, and I think my goal with this, because they are quite simplistic, childlike, very simple line art pictures, I want to try and make them look as good as I possibly can, as sort of artistic and what have you. I don't want to just block colour them. I want to do something a little bit nice and special. So the first one that we need to colour is this mermaid up here for day one, and let me just see if I can get maybe an image that we can look at and pick some colours from. So I'm just typing mermaid into Google. Obviously you've got Ariel, which might be a nice one to do actually for the top of the page. Shall we do that? Let's do an Ariel. I know we've got a couple of other mermaids or whatever throughout the month, so we can always do something different on those, but it would be quite nice to do an Ariel. So I'll zoom you in and make sure that you're in shot, and then let's have a look then. So we are going to need, if I can put her on screen, let me just pop this behind it. There we go. We're going to need this kind of aquamarine green. So let's see what we've got. I've got my Prismacolors out at the moment, but I'm not discounting using any other materials, including pens, markers, paints, anything throughout this challenge. So we could be using anything, but you know how I'm quite au fait with the Prismacolors. I know what colours to look for, so we'll start off easy. Right, so I know I'm looking for this greenish blue colour. So the first kind of colours that I've gone straight to for this, if I just pull them out and put them here, are these. And this is light green, true green and parrot green. Not sure entirely how well they're going to go together, but I think we need a slightly lighter green as well. So let me just look for a highlight colour. I'm not sure the pale sage would work really. I don't know if it's the right kind of tone for those, but I don't really think we've got anything that would match. Let me see in my luminance if we've got anything. Again, I think this is a kind of a pale sagey tone, so let me have a look. Do we have anything lighter? I don't think we do. We might have to just go in with white, I think. So I've got my white. Let me sharpen all of these and then we can get on with the tail. Okay, so I've sharpened all my pencils and I've also pulled out another colour, which is the Peacock Green, because I thought we needed a slightly darker colour for our shadows. So first of all, I'm going to put those shadows in, I think. I've not really got an idea of where the sun or the light source is going to be on here, so I need to sort of think about that. But I'm thinking probably that the light will be sort of down the centre and then towards the top of the face. So if we can just put some shadows in there, I think that will look quite good. So I've got this here, the Peacock Green PC907, and I'm just going to put in some shadows. Now, I am not a professional. I don't know where to put shadows and things usually. I just decide and do my best from what I think. So this is not going to be, you know, properly artistic by any means, but we'll give it a shot. I just need to be careful how far I'm putting my green up already. I think I'm making a bit of a mistake here. We need to just make sure the tail comes up in like a V underneath. So I'm just adding in those shadows a bit deeper and darker in the centre. Maybe just under this tail bit as well, we'd have a bit more shadow. So I'm just thickening it up as we come to the inside of the tail. Now I've printed this on bog standard printer paper. So there's nothing special about this paper whatsoever. I wanted to do it on standard paper because not everybody has access to posh papers. So I do like to see, you know, how things work on normal standard paper. So I think I'll just fill most of that in and just leave a little bit of white right at the edge, just to show roundedness. Like I say, I'm not really sure if I've come up a bit too far with the tail. Probably should have been a little bit further down there, but oh well. So I'll come back in with that colour in a bit just to add some more darkness in there. But I want to move on to the next colour now, which is Parrot Green PC 1006, which is actually my favourite Prismacolor if I had to choose. Absolutely adore this colour. So I'm coming in underneath and just spreading it out a little bit more. And what I do want to do is add some of this Parrot Green in on the other side, right up against the line art. Because I want our shine and our highlight to be not right up to the edge, but a bit more central, not completely central obviously, but a bit more central. As I said, there's no real rhyme or reason to this shading. I'm not a professional, as I said, so I'm just doing it how I think it will look nice. If you want to decide on a light source coming from a different area and you want to try and make you know, more realistic shadows, then go for it. So put the Parrot Green down and then we will move on to the next colour, which is the True Green. And this has definitely got more of a green tone to it, whereas the others you could argue were more of a blue-green. This is definitely on the green side. So again, I'm just thickening up the lines that I've put down already. You think you know the drill by now. If you've been watching the channel, you know how I colour, but I do feel like I've got to, you know, say it every time, so that if there are new people watching, then they can watch along and colour along with us as well. So we've got a little bit of a banana shape highlight going on there, which is good. That's what we want. Now we'll move on to our last colour, which is light green. That's PC 920. And just pop that in, but don't fill that C shape completely, because I do want to come in with the white and use that as a blender. So you see we've still got some of that C shape showing. Now I've got my white. This is a Prismacolor, but it's actually a Charismacolor, which is like the original Prismacolors. I can't find my Prismacolor white, so we're using this one, but it's the same thing. So I'm just going over that C shape and making sure it looks fairly nicely blended with the greens. we go. Then I need to come back in with my colours and do this side as well. So I've got the Parrot Green here, which is the second to darkest colour, and I just need to put some of that over here. Then the next one is the True Green. And then the light green. Now, I'm not really too bothered about having white over there. That can be filled in with the light green. But I do want to go over this Peacock Green again because we have some tooth left on the paper. And my particular colouring style is about it, you know, it being perfectly flat and almost printed looking. I don't really like to leave tooth on the paper if I can help it. I do like it to look nice and flat. And I'm hoping that we haven't got much of a glare on the camera from the top light. I was just checking that. But I think we're okay. So I'm just filling in a bit more of this darker green over this side of the tail. Parrot Green again, just to do that final burnish and flatten out all the tooth that's left. And what that also does is it makes the colour really vibrant. So you can see this side of the tail looks a lot more vibrant than this side because we've gone over it with the white, and we need to go back in with our colours just to give it that final vivid pop. So that's what I'll be doing next. I'm just going through my colours again one by one to build up the colour. There we go. My little brush. Okay, so coming in again with the Parrot Green on the other side of the black shadow. Not black shadow, but darker green shadow. And then again, just doing that kind of burnishing motion. Adding in a bit more of this Parrot Green to the edge. And then the True Green. I think this green is what gives it those Ariel vibes. This seems to be the main green of her tail, this kind of shade. Then the light green. And then once you're happy with how that's burnished, you can always come back in with your white to sort of reaffirm that highlight area. But that's really built our colour now, and it's given us full saturation. So it looks nice and flat and also nice and vivid. So I'm going to use the Peacock Green just to properly define the V of this tail, where it comes against the skin. So I'm going to pull that down a little bit there. The way that she's twisted is quite awkward because I think it would be maybe slightly higher. But we're not here for realism really, we just want to make it look cute. So yeah, just adding in any little final bits on that tail that you think. Yours will look different to mine, so just keep using your colours to build that up. Now what I think I will do is just bring in a very slight touch of the Peacock Green, our darkest colour, just a very slight touch to this side. I don't want to go mad, but I do think it just needed deepening up there just a little bit. And I'm barely touching the paper when I do this, so there we go. So that's the tail. Obviously we've got these two little fins at the bottom of the tail as well. So I just want to check our image and see what colour they are. So they are a lighter green, almost like that sage green So that might be one that we have to get out and have a look at. Let's see. I could do with another piece of paper to scribble on. Let's use this one. So this is our sage green. And just kind of looking, the colours will be different for you, but I'm just looking, and I think that would be quite a nice colour to go with this one, which is the true green. I think if we use the true green really lightly, we can get these two different hues to match up together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move her a little bit so that I've got a better angle on this. So with Ariel's fins, she has the colour. Can I show this on the page there? Yeah, she has the colour sort of banded down across the fins, and then a white line on the little creases of the fins. So we'll see if we can emulate that. So I've got the true green. I'm going to very, very lightly put a band of colour across the fin. And the same again over here, but just on this side where it's been overlapped by the front fin. And I'm using that true green very, very lightly because it is a very bright, bold colour, and it isn't in the same sort of family as the sage green, so we need to use it sparingly. So the sage green now, and this one is PC 1089. So we can bring that in and we can go over the light area of true green that we've put in. And going over that immediately dulls it down and allows us to blend a bit better as well. So just going over that. I'm not being too precious about it, but we should get something that looks a little bit like the lighter colour of fins that Ariel has, the lighter colour compared to her this part of her tail, this part of her body. I don't think we need to really do any more on that. I think if we did, it would get a bit too bright, whereas we want to keep it quite pale, or at least pale in comparison to the body. So we'll do the same thing on the little fins down here on the other, at each side of the body. So a little bit of this true green in here as well, and then over and fill it in with the sage. So hopefully we've got something that kind of resembles the colours of Ariel's tail. Now she does have a little bit of a flap above her tail here, so I wonder if we can add that in ourselves because it's not on the picture. So what we would need to do is get a little pen. Let's see, what's this, a 0.2, that might be all right. Get a little pen and we will pop in some lines over her tail here. That's pretty much the same thickness as the lines. And then, let's see, we could probably just add a little bit of a flap thing over here. I'm no good at drawing, as you'll know. So I'm just trying my absolute best to make it look like it was there in the first place. So same colours again, true green, just a little bit. This is a very, very small area, so I don't expect you to work miracles on this. And then just with the sage green over the top. Now, as I said, she does have white lines that go over the tail and over that area as well. So we will do the same. I'm going to get my white gel pen. Just make sure that we get all the dry bits off the end, and then we'll put in some white lines. So the white lines do run across the whole length of the tail. Just getting this going. I think we've still got a little bit of residue on there. And there we go, that's better. So this might not be super apparent at the moment because we are working with such light colours, but I'm hoping that it will add to the effect. Might need to go over that again to completely block the colour out, but it might be okay. We'll see. See how we go. Same again over here. Taking it right to the end. Just following the natural line of the wrinkles that have been put in by the illustrator. And we'll do the same on the little fins. And then on here, I keep having to unlock my phone because it keeps going off. Yeah, she does have some white lines on that bit as well. And they're kind of curved like this. There we are. So not the best, but not the worst. See how it comes together when we finish. So her bra is a purple, just show you. So we're gonna need, I think, violet. Let me have a look. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to be quick because I don't like to leave the screen with nothing going on for too long, but I'm just trying to get my colours together. Violet, and what's lighter than violet? These have all been moved out of my family order, which is annoying. So I need to try and remember what my family order was. So we've got Parma Violet, and then I think we can probably get away with some greyed lavender. Such a small area, but it's worth using the right colours to try and get the effect. So I'm just going to sharpen these. Watch your ears. Okay, so starting off with the Prismacolor Violet, which is PC 932, we will do the bottom of the cups in the violet. Again, such a small area, don't worry about it at all if you can't get, fit 3 different colours on there. And then the next one is the Parma Violet PC 1008. And then the greyed lavender PC 1026. So we've still managed to keep a bit of a highlight going on. So that it doesn't just look block coloured, it's got a little bit of interest to the eye, even though it's such a small area. And I don't know whether we can fit in some lines that go across the bra like Ariel's got. It might be just too much of a small area for that. But I think if we use a very, very small thin fine liner, and I have a 005, we could get away with it. Let's have a try. Yeah, so I mean, it's not made a massive difference, to be fair, but it's there. It's a little detail, isn't it? We know it's there. So also the side of the bra is the violet colour as well. So I'll just make sure that that strap is coloured in. Okay, so I want to go for her hair now. Usually when I'm colouring a person, I do skin first, and for some reason I've done the tail first. I think it's because it's the main part of the mermaid, isn't it? So we need to do her hair now, and she does have beautiful red hair. I would say it's slightly more on the orangey side, but maybe it is a true red actually. I don't know. Let's just grab the permanent red because that's the true red that I normally start with. So the permanent red is PC 122, and that does have a little bit of orange in it actually. I don't know if it's a true red or it's more on the orange side, but it definitely is red. And then we'll need something a bit darker for the shadows. So we've got Crimson Lake, they'll go quite nicely together. And that might do it. I think maybe we should have the white again for highlights. I don't really want to go in the orange direction for the highlights. We'll go for white. And I don't know if the Crimson Lake's going to be dark enough. We might need to go to a raspberry or a Tuscan red. Let me see, where's my raspberry? Might need to go to a raspberry. See if that works. So again, just deciding where your shadows are going to be on this hair, totally up to you. There's no reference for this particular picture, so just have a look where you think they'd go. So she's got a curl at the top here, so I would say that there will be some shadow underneath this curl. This is the raspberry pencil 1030. Just pop it underneath. And you can get even darker than this, but I don't really want to go too much darker. When we look at the picture of Ariel, you could probably use a grey. I would say use a warm grey to shade this if you wanted to go a bit darker. If you're using colours that are on the warm side of the wheel, use a warm grey to shade them with. I'm going to put a little bit in here. Really, this is just me sort of messing about, and there's nothing special to this whatsoever. I'm just putting them where I think. So don't follow me if you don't want to. You can decide for yourself where you want your shadows to go. So I think we'll just have some shadow as it curls over the top there. And some down here. I'm doing it basically where the illustrator has put lines. So that normally indicates like a shadow to me where they've put lines. Not necessarily, but underneath here again. I think this will be quite dark because of this front sort of fringe piece going over there, but don't worry too much about it. Just doing the end of that piece of hair there. And then these bits underneath, I think they'd be fairly dark. Right, let's see how that goes then. If we leave that with our shadows for now, then I'm going to skip the Crimson Lake and go straight to the permanent red, because I just want to see how that looks if we go straight to the permanent red. I need to scrub this off because it's got some old pencil on it. Some ink or something. Okay. So come in with this, but I'm on the areas that I'm putting this in, I'm not actually going to go right to the edge with it because I do want to use white as a highlight. So don't completely fill everything in. Do keep some areas for the white pencil. It might be that we don't even need that Crimson Lake. Sometimes when you're working in a small area and the colours are so close together, you can afford to skip one. So you see how I'm just going over and above the raspberry areas, but I'm not actually going and colouring all of the white. I am leaving some areas for our white pencil. Okay. So I'm getting the white now, and I'm just going over these areas that we've left with the white pencil. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit too stark at the moment. We are going to put a little sprinkle of red over our white area, but we do need to put this down first in order to firstly blend it and, put a very light base down so that the colour we put on top will never be as richly pigmented as it would be on its own. It's going to lighten up the colour that we put on top. So now we've put our whites in, we will come back with our permanent red, and like I said, very lightly go over the white areas so that we have a highlight that isn't as vibrant as the full saturation of permanent red, but it is, you know, a lighter tone of that colour, a lighter tint of that colour rather, and that will look like a more natural highlight. So just finishing up areas that just look a little bit too white. Sometimes you just take a step back and just see a bit clearer which areas need a bit more red. I think that's about right really. Where's my brush? There it is. So when you're using white, or really any wax crayon, wax colour, you will end up dulling the line art around the piece, so you might want to put that back in with your 0.2. It's up to you, just to again give that look. Hang on, 0.2, that's not the right one, is it? Or is it? I don't know. So you might want to add those lines back in, just add the blackness in. You probably get a little bit of wax residue on your micron pen or whatever pen it is that you're using, so you'll need to just make sure that's off at the end. I often find that that build-up happens very easily on these kind of pigment liners when you're using wax coloured pencils. So what I would do is I would get my scrap paper, and as you can see it's really dull and kind of looks like it's drying out, but if you just give it a little bit of a scribble, it will come off. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with that for the hair. I think we'll add a little bit more red under here. Yeah, okay, I need to leave it alone. I need to learn to leave it alone. So that's the hair. Now all we've got left to do is the skin, and then whatever colour we want in the back of the box. So let me just have a look what we've got for our skin. Right. Okay, so we've got a sort of a peachy, it's quite a deep colour actually. It's not tanned, but it's not fair either. So let's see what we can do. Got peach, henna and light peach. Let's take our henna first of all for our shadows, which would be just underneath the chin. Again, not professional, just doing what I think. And then side of the nose. We've not got a lot to play with here when it comes to detail. It's very, very simple line art, so you know, don't worry too much about it. Like I said, have a little bit of shadow here where her arm is underneath her head, and I would say a little bit here and down against the tail. And on this arm, I'm going to do it down this side. On the face as well, we need a bit more. Oh, we need a bit more contouring. Just pop my charger back. Need a bit more contouring. So let's bring in the cheekbone. Just along the side of the face here. And I think that'll do, to be honest. Like I said, we've not got a lot of room to work with. So next up we've got the peach, PC939. And again, just going over what we've done and extending it a little bit to fill in more of the white. So with the peach, we want to sort of be burnishing the henna a little bit. It's really difficult to know where to put the shadows when we've got no features to play with, but try my best. And then, yeah, so burnish the henna with the peach, because that will lighten it up a little bit and it won't look so brown and red. I think that's all right there, like that. And then final colour is the light peach, PC927. And you should be able to just fill it all in now with this one. Like I said, we don't need to be doing a great deal of detail on this. This is just a bit of a fun colouring challenge, really, just to be able to do one every day, a bit like an advent calendar type colouring, but in summer instead of at Christmas. There we go. Now, if you want to leave some white, if you can, that's totally up to you. Probably look better and go with the illustration more if you left a bit of white, because it will just give that highlighted look to the skin as well. A bit cartoonish, which is what we're colouring anyway. Here we are. Now normally at this stage when I'm colouring a portrait, I will be going over the henna with some purple, maybe a lilac or something like that, to draw out the red, or what's the word? To desaturate the red? No, I know what I mean. It like works as a counteracting colour and it turns it into shading rather than redness. But like I said, we don't really have that much room or detail here, so it doesn't really matter. If there are any areas where you've gone a bit mad with the henna, you can use a sharp white to get in there and blur it out a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with that as it goes. Again, we've got some wax residue on the black details, so I am going to go back in with that because I do think it looks better when you do redefine that. So again, I'm going to need my little sheet because I can feel the wax build up already. Now make sure that this, if you're going to do it, is the last thing that you do, because it's very, very easy to smudge these lines, even when they're dry, when you're using your coloured pencils. So yeah, do this last. You might want to get rid of the lines, but I quite like leaving them on these cartoon types of illustrations because it just adds to the look of it being a cartoon. If you wanted to make it look realistic, then I guess you would use the white to get rid of the lines, but that's not what I'm doing on this one. So just touching up these lines as well, and this eye, and I think that's all right. So now we need to think of a colour to do our background in, which isn't necessary, we don't have to do a background, but I'd like to because I think it will just help to lift again the main feature of the box. So we need to look at the colour wheel for this if we want to make it contrast, and I always do. So we've got red and green, which are the main colours of our illustration so far. So red and green are opposite the colour wheel from each other. I'm just going to zoom you out a little bit. They're opposite the colour wheel from each other, so they're already contrasting, and that's why red and green looks really great together. But we want something that's going to make it pop. So what I would usually do is have a look at the red and green, where they sit on the colour wheel, and then find a colour that is kind of in between the red and the green. So you kind of move in as far away from the colours as you possibly can. Obviously, if we did a yellow green, that's not far enough away from green. But yellow orange or blue violet will look really, really good. So yellow orange is going to look like that next to the red and the green. And then the blue violet is going to look like that. And to be honest, the blue violet would be a good choice because we've got violet already on the bra. It would tie it all in together. However, for purposes of contrast, I think yellow orange is going to be the one that I'm going to go with for this. So yellow orange, let's have a look what we've got. We've got a sunburst yellow, and we have got Spanish orange. They're really similar to each other, those two are. What do we have that's a little bit lighter than that? Might be that we've got to go to Canary Yellow. Let's see. These two are really, really close to one another, so I might just take away this sunburst yellow and see if we've got anything a bit darker. Like I said, they're all out of order at the moment. So we've got our actual orange, which might do quite nicely for the edge. So let's just try that. We've got orange, that's PC 918, and I'm just going to colour the very edge of the border, and we're going to do like a gradient that goes lighter to the middle. So I think that'll look quite nice. So just a little bit of orange on the border. I don't want it to be full orange, I just want it to be the darkest of the three that we've chosen. And then the next one is Spanish orange. So just fill that bit in with the Spanish orange. Same again here. You probably want to do a little bit over here as well. I'm just trying to figure out where the edges of the box would be. But we don't need to take it too extreme. We are just doing this for a bit of fun at the end of the day. So there we go, that's our Spanish orange. I am going over that orange that we first put down with the Spanish orange, just to desaturate it a little bit, so that it's not so orange, because we do want a yellow orange, not an orange at the end of the day. And then the yellow, Canary Yellow PC 916 will be a good counterpart to that, because it will really lighten up the look of it, and it definitely does look more like a yellow orange area now than a plain orange. So what do we think? That is our first day done. First day of July colouring challenge. I've only got another 4 or 5 to do to catch up, and then I'll be doing them daily. So really excited to complete the month and have you colour along with me if you want to. If not, you can just sit and listen to me waffle as usual. But yeah, there we go. I'm pretty happy with that, you know. I hope you are too. I hope you've enjoyed watching me colour that little cartoonish image. Tomorrow we will have the sandcastle, which is going to be right now because I'm going to film it now. So I will see you on the next video.